This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome to The Secret to Everything. I am Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and I am so excited to be with you here today. And I do mean here today. We have joined the amazing and wonderful X-Zone Network, and we are excited about it. But some of you around the world may have no idea what I am, what I stand for, or what I do. And I think it's really important that we get to know each other, because I plan on hanging out with all of you for a very, very long time. First of all, I want you guys to know that it's not my first rodeo in radio. I actually was in radio when I was super, super young, and I absolutely loved it. I got my start in radio in Chicago, and I love connecting with an audience, and I love getting to know you and what you want to hear about and what's going on in your lives. So I want to extend right now an open invitation to get a hold of me through my website, Secret to Everything, and let me know how we are doing on the Secret to Everything radio show. Who would you like me to interview? What subjects aren't we talking about that are important to you? And we will always have this open dialogue and discussion with the audience. It's super important to me. So today, I kind of want to give you a background on why I even started doing a radio show, and why, we'll get into this a little later when our guest gets on, but why is it called The Secret to Everything? So I was born a natural intuitive when I was a super, super little girl, although I didn't use my abilities very well, and I didn't even really know how to use them. But what that led me into was actually working with a crime unit in Chicago and contributing my psychic abilities to help them solve crimes. I'm also a remote viewer, and I've worked with many popular paranormal teams around the world, helping them prepare for their paranormal investigations before they go. So I'm kind of able to go to the location and check it out and say, you know what, you might run into this spirit, or you might run into this situation, or be careful of this. So that's something I've also done in my not too distant past. But right now, our focus really is healing and integrating all of you, your whole life, whether it's financial, or you're having relationship struggles, or we do a lot of health things. And actually, speaking of health things, I started out in naturopathic medicine a long time ago because I myself had health issues, as many of you do, and I had married problems, and I had financial issues. So a lot of what I'm going to share with you, and a lot of the topics that we're going to talk about on The Secret to Everything, have to do with my own life journey and all the secrets that I've discovered. And they do all point back to this little topic, kind of little, called energy or frequency. So Laurie and I will be digging really, really deep into frequency. But why should you spend even 5 minutes listening to my radio show? I think I kind of can share with you why. So often we kind of mindlessly listen to things as we go about our day, or we drive in our car and we listen to these podcasts. But I hope that this is something more. One of the things we're going to do toward the end of the show is I'm going to lead you through a meditation process that, if you allow it to, if you receive that energy, it can actually be quite magical and possibly change everything, because we are all about the possibility and the hope of change and transformation. And sometimes it does take a long time, and sometimes it can happen in just a couple minutes or a few seconds. So I listen to my fair share of podcasting and radio, and sometimes I'll be kind of mindlessly listening, and I'll listen to a guest or a conversation. And if you guys listen to Rob McConnell, you'll never say what I'm going to say. But this is my observation of a lot of people. You're like, why am I listening to this? The interviewer is not asking questions that relate to me, and it doesn't make any sense. I was listening to a show about after-death experiences, and it's really interesting. We could talk about that all day, but I found myself about halfway through the show asking the question, who cares? And I don't mean that to be critical of after-death experiences. I mean that to be why, a personal question. Why am I using my time when there is no application being connected to my life now? So I want you guys to keep me really accountable. I want this to be super useful and relevant. I want to give you nuggets that you can kind of take to the bank and deposit, and that are really something you can sit around, the water cooler, the coffee pot at work, and share and say, oh, I heard the coolest thing, or can you believe this woman said this, or this guest said that. I want you guys to have that level of excitement when you listen to this show. And ultimately, we know that everything is energy. We're listening to this program because frequencies travel through the invisible air, and we get to turn it on in our cars, and we get to turn it on in our houses. And so we are going to be talking a lot about the magic of frequency and energy on this show. And we're going to be getting into some really kind of woo-woo topics and things that you may not have thought about, or you may not have studied. And I invite you to keep an open mind and to keep an open energy field while you listen to my show. So when we come back, we're going to be talking to Laurie Winn. She's a practitioner that works with me, and we'll be diving into energy and frequency.
This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
Shamanism is recognized as a method to access the quantum level. Mastery of shamanic skills puts spiritual information and healing power into your hands. Path Home Shamanic Art School, a bonded Colorado certified occupational school, has met rigorous state standards, ensuring its director and instructors have the qualifications to teach the shamanic arts. Path Home offers its certification program in blocks of study. Block 1, a 5-day intensive, will be held in the beautiful mountain town of Coaldale, Colorado, October 13th through 18th. Registration deadline is September 12th. Experience journey trance, power animals, helping spirits, sacred space, and life purpose. Come discover your power. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magical world of shamanism. Call 303-775-3431 or visit findyourpathhome.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to The Secret to Everything, and I am Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and I am here today with a practitioner of mine, Laurie Winn. She's also an author and written her own book, which we'll have her back another time to talk about that. But today, I really would like you to kind of introduce you to the energy of who I am, what we do at The Secret to Everything, and what this show is going to be about. So welcome to the show, Laurie.
Thank you, Kim, and it's great to be with you today.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have you. It's our first show, yay, on the X-Zone Network. Woo!
Yay!
So, let's begin at the beginning, which is a good place to start. And why don't you share with the audience your first kind of encounter with, me and the brand of Secret to Everything and your thoughts about that. And we'll kind of come into an introduction of energy and frequency through that door.
Okay. I have a great story about learning about energy, but the way I connected with you was I've always been a seeker of the truth or just a lifetime type of learner, and I was in the process of writing my book, and I would get stuck in places and wouldn't know how to get out of it. It was either an emotional thing or it was just a creative thing. I really didn't understand why I was stuck, and every time I would just listen to a telesummit. I would go on the internet and I would see a telesummit, and I went to one of yours, and I started to resonate with the things that you were teaching and saying, and you would do these clearing processes that really impacted my life in such a profound way. So I would do the clearing exercise, and then I would get back to writing, and I would feel more clear. I would get more creative. And it would happen again. And it just so happened that you would be on again. And I'm like, oh, let me go on to her show again. And it happened about 3 times. And I thought, well, there must be something to this energy thing. And it reminded me of a time that I just I've been in broadcast just like you. I have a broadcast background. And I was in a religious ceremony type of camp meeting, they call it. And I was in it, and it was a tape delay afterwards. And I was sitting in my hotel room. I had just been to this camp meeting type of thing where they had, a big woo, ha-ha, charismatic meeting. And I was sitting in my hotel room, and that whole energy that was at the church was in my hotel room. And I said, there is something to this energy frequency thing. So when I saw you had some programs to offer, I went ahead and bought one of those programs, and it was a downloadable program, and I found myself walking in the mornings to some or one of your tracks, and then I would come back and I would write like a fiend, and then I would stop, and then I would listen to another track if I got stuck. So it was kind of addicting to me, but what I didn't realize is that I was aligning myself, and I was opening those creative channels in who I was, and I was becoming more aligned. And it was a very exciting time for me because of that creativity, and, learning to tap into energy was a real eye-opener for me that you could actually do that.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And you guys, no promises of mad fiend writing. We do not guarantee that. So all you authors out there are like, wait, what is she talking about? So no guarantee. Energy absolutely moves through each one of us in individual ways and affects us in different ways. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Laurie, because I know you can handle it. Can you kind of talk to us about energy and frequency and what that means to you on maybe a more technical level? Help us understand, why should we even care about energy and frequency? I mean, what application does it have to our daily lives?
Okay, that's a great question, Kim, because I was a producer, and I always lived under a time restraint. And so I had to learn like a rhythm of life. And so when I discovered that there was an energy and there was a flow, and that I could flow and I didn't have to resist certain things, I could kind of go with the flow, it made my life a lot easier. I was always in stressful situations, and just tapping into different types of energy. Like when you're around people, you might be around people that make you laugh and they make you, happy. And it's great to be around those people. Well, they have that frequency. They have a primary frequency, an energy about them, and you can actually feel that. And also, it's the opposite. If you're in a room, with people arguing, and you walk into the room and it's like you could cut the air with a knife. It's so, horrible. That's a frequency too. It's something that you don't want to be a part of. So each of us carry a primary frequency, and we have our own energy field. And that's what I was understanding as I went along, is to know that you carry a primary frequency, and your frequency changes. It changes with emotions, thoughts, situations. Anything that happens to you pretty much changes your energy. So did I do a good enough job for you for that?
No, that was a great explanation. And if I understand you correctly, Laurie, are you trying to tell me that possibly everything we choose, from the car we drive to the color we paint our walls to what we put in our mouth to our friends, the neighborhood we pick, the flowers we choose for our garden, does that all matter?
Absolutely. It absolutely does. And even intentions, even your thoughts, all of that contributes to your energy and your frequency. Colors that you like, colors that you don't like, all of those things make up, frequency and energy and vibration, basically. And the more you understand that, the more holistic life you can live. And that's what's exciting to me when you offered the practitioner course. It's kind of like science meets spirit, and you're able to actually see the results of what a situation does and doesn't do, or how a thought can manifest into, a beautiful aura. It's amazing to me.
Right. And let's go back to a little bit of the basics, which is not only is everything energy, but everything has a specific hertz or numerical frequency. So like I like to say it, things fall in a general range of frequencies. So if we're talking about the bug kingdom, everything in that is going to fall in the same range, but the individual frequencies are going to be, slightly different, of course, because it's a different bug. And not only that, but people are both generators and receivers. So basically, everybody listening to this, we're listening to a radio show, but you guys are actually your own radio tower. And as you get really good at listening and being still and clearing out your energy field and healing your physical body, you become this kind of magical, you talk about technology, you guys are the most sophisticated, amazing pieces of technology that there are. And you start to have these abilities that you never knew you had. Not only do you have those kind of general abilities that Laurie was talking about, where you can walk in a house and be like, I think something spooky kind of happened here. But you start to have very, very specific abilities. And I'm going to throw it out to you that as you learn about energy and frequency through your own study or through other programs or through this program, that you're going to realize that if you become a frequency master, very, very good at the subtle nuances of frequency, you hold what? The secret to everything in your own being, within your own power. And once you realize that and start to study that, as Laurie has, and start to master that, no longer can someone easily lie to you, because energy and frequency never lies. It is what it is, what it is, what it is. The frequency of a certain kind of orange is always going to be the same. So when you become very sensitive to the subtlety of the energy world that we call unseen, but what we know, like Laurie was talking about, we have technology. Not only am I saying that in the general way, but I'm saying that in the specific way that we've developed technology that can, through your voice imprint, show your aura, show the balance of your chakras. And I'm sure Laurie has some good stories about this. And then we are using right now, before we put in the next layer, we use color therapy, which is a whole relevant therapy in itself that some practitioners use alone to heal mind, body, emotions, and spirit and balance the energy field. And so we've put all this together and kind of smashed it together in this app that you literally hold as you learn, to use it skillfully in the palm of your hand. So do you have anything to share about that? I'm sure you have some good stories, Laurie.
Yeah, I do. I just want to backtrack on the receivers and transmitters part of that, because being in a broadcast television station, I was able to understand that concept. And when I was in that hotel room and I was, receiving the same frequencies that I felt in that church, I knew that you could tap into certain things like that. And that was what was really, really interesting to me. So when you did offer the program of the practitioner, I wanted to learn everything I could about frequency and energy. And that's why it was so magical for me, because I could actually see the transformation when you did use different frequencies. And now this app that you have created has such a wide range of applications. When I was asked to be a beta tester for it, I just used it for everything. I was standing in the post office and I was waiting, and I used my application to see what my aura or my energy was going to be like, just standing there waiting for 20 minutes. And yeah, I laughed at myself. I'm like, yeah, this is about right. This is how I feel, angry. And it's just a really great piece of technology where you can see your energy field through an aura color reading, and then you can see if your chakras are balanced. And for those that don't know about chakras, they're the little energy systems within your body that do special certain things for each body, and Kim can probably go into that a little bit more. But I started just to experiment in different environments. I played with the tech with my pet when he was talking to a bird on the telephone line. I was like, okay, I got his voice. And so anytime I could read a voice, I did it for preachers on TV. I did it for, just anybody. And I would make these split screens to see what this was and then how it affected me. And then the great thing about the app is it doesn't only show you where you are, it gives you tones and colors to balance like a tuning fork. And so you can go through the cycle and it scans where you're missing the deficiencies in your voice. And you're able to get balanced by listening to the tones. And that was very, very helpful for me, because it was just a real eye-opener of how energy actually moves throughout your body, through your thoughts, your intentions. And it was amazing to see. That's why I say it's science meets spirit, because it merges the two together in such a special way.
And I find it interesting, Laurie, because a lot of people now are talking about, this new technology. And I heard a popular health writer, he said, I'm going to be making this big announcement this weekend. And did you know that like minerals have a song and they have a tone? And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, you guys, this isn't new. We've known about energy and frequencies, and, you can Google Vol, from the 18th century. And of course, we all know about Tesla and some of these big names, but this has been around, a long, long time. And when we come back from the break, we're going to dig more into energy, frequency, and the secret to everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money in abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
You're listening to The Secret to Everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and we are here with Laurie Winn. She's an author. She's a practitioner within The Secret to Everything, and we have been discussing and kind of throwing back and forth the topic of frequency and energy. And we've been talking about our app that we created, which is called Energy Mastered, but I'm going to get into some kind of maybe controversial discussion for a second, Laurie. So one of the things I posted in the practitioner program yesterday was and it's pretty relevant right now, was a picture of a position of a hurricane, a picture of an aura, and a picture of the satellite photo. So what I'm saying is we have something that you guys may have heard talked about in the X Zone. I haven't heard every X Zone show, but I've heard a lot. But I imagine the subject has come up. of something that we might call dark science. And so we know, those of us that have taken the time to kind of investigate and explore, we know that all frequencies are not necessarily used for good, that frequencies such as HARP can potentially, or absolutely, depending on your point of view, be used for possibly evil. And not only that, but we know, those of us that work with energy and frequency a lot, that energy affects matter. How much of the time? 100% of the time, energy always affects matter. And so it's either going to neutralize matter, it's going to strengthen matter, it's going to destroy, weaken, stress matter. And so it was really interesting to me because I have friends that do these things. You know, when you look at the heart maps leading up to this hurricane that's on the East Coast right now, the United States, that it's right over the area. The long waves are being directed, frequency long waves are being directed right where this massive hurricane has been, I believe, created. And so, Laurie, do you also believe or do you not believe that energy affects matter, and that if dark science, you know, can affect the world so severely, or in this case, the United States, can we coin a term maybe called white science or light science? And can that not transform everything in your life?
Absolutely. In the practitioner program, I have been learning so much eye-opening discoveries about how some frequencies can be harmful, even if they're good ones. And that I know that the frequencies that I use to clear or block some negative emotions, clear those emotions. And so I would consider those positive frequencies. But just like a vitamin, you know, if you get too much of something, it's not really good for you. So I really do believe that there are frequencies out there for programming and other things that aren't so good. So, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I don't know the depth of it, but I do know that it absolutely can change 100% matter. I do that because I've seen it in my own body where I had maybe an illness or something, and I used certain frequencies, and I would miraculously start being better, and then I would be healed. So I understand that process completely.
And I think, you know, most of this audience is familiar with kind of the paranormal world, and that they use, you know, certain meters. They use different technology, but they go around, you know, land or houses or places of supposed haunting. And what are they looking for? They're looking for disturbance in the normal energy patterns and the normal frequencies, whether it's temperature or whether it's, you know, like an EMF type of reading. And speaking of that, you know, I'm kind of glad we kind of went here because EMF is huge. The electromagnetic frequency disturbance on the planet today is unprecedented. And when we do thousands of scans each week, we are seeing in almost every energy field this disturbance because what are we? We were energy first, and then we became physical matter in our physical body. And so this subtle energy actually probably affects us more than what you ate for breakfast this morning, and you know how we were talking about everything, or what you listened to, or whether you watched Violet TV. Not that that stuff is good necessarily, but we're living with just being bombarded by these negative, disruptive magnetic frequencies that are not compatible with the human energy field or with the human body. And so here's another application of our technology. We can scan you and say, whoa, not only can we say, you got a little bit of an EMF issue in your home and in your own field, but we can also say, okay, computer, Wi-Fi, you know, on and all the, you know, Bluetooth. I hope you guys aren't using Bluetooth. I hope you guys aren't still putting your cell phone against your head. And I'm one of the guilty ones, Laurie. I'm one of the ones that'll sleep on my computer, my iPad, my cell phone, and another computer like all night. So, you know, I'm guilty too, but we have to become aware of the electromagnetic pollution. And then what are you going to see when you drive around? You're going to see what? Radio towers, and I'm putting this in air quotes, you guys, cell phone towers, and that can be for another show. But we're still being bombarded by all these invisible frequencies whipping by us every day. And it can really cause a lot of this, misdiagnosis that we're getting of like fibromyalgia and, chronic fatigue and adrenal fatigue. If we clean up our environment, we clean up our diet, we get rid of the viral, bacterial, fungal load on our bodies, it's funny what starts working. Would you agree, Laurie?
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say, the first thing that came to my mind was the adrenal glands and how, just being around all of the technology that we have on a daily basis and being bombarded in social media and all those things, which are good in one respect, but then, you don't really know the effects that it has on your physical body until you do a reading or a scan and you're like, wow, this is really, really tapping my adrenal or, anything else. It's just all the internal organs that your body's not accustomed to having. And it's so much more now, than it was back in, maybe 20 years ago. It's so much more now than it's ever been.
And a lot of people I've noticed that I talk to, both clients and just people in everyday life, a big issue people seem to be having is sleep. And it'll totally do in your like pineal gland and affect your sleep quality. Even which way your bed faces and how close it is to electrical sockets. You should not have your bed like pushed up against the wall where you're plugging in computers or you're plugging in phones, or we don't think about these things. We don't think about that huge electrical load that could be, going up right by what? By your brains. You guys are like talk about frying your brains. When you do things like that and you're not conscious of your environment, you're literally, with your cell phones frying your brains and putting your bed up against the wall, just your nervous system. And we're like, why are we so hyper and crazy? And I know I'm hyper and crazy, you guys, but that's not why. I've got my EMF under control. But, there's a lot of things we can do. But I think just becoming aware that it's an issue and starting to research it, I think that's absolutely really important. And speaking of that, something really practical, and in the next segment, which we're not going into yet, but when we do, I'm actually going to lead you guys in kind of a meditation for some things that came in for this specific audience and some issues that I really feel will be relevant to your lives. But before we go into that, just the whole thing I see regularly is that the need for silence and space and rest from the brain spinning is huge all over the world right now. And when we do these scans, one of the things that repeatedly comes up, and I've talked to you guys about this, and I've talked to you about it too, Laurie, is this need, the body sometimes just says, I need 5 minutes, just 5 minutes of what? 5 minutes of silence. Well, gosh, where can we even go for that? You can't even go to Starbucks for that because everybody's like, blah, 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 blah. And what do they have? They bring their computers. And
there's nobody that has the time because there's so much distraction in the world. Even if they go to be silent for a minute, there's something distracting them. So where do you go?
Yeah, where do you go? I wish we had this now we'll go into sales pitch, Laurie. Well, we have this secret magical closet that we can sell you for $19.97. No, I'm just kidding, you guys. But it's just carving out that time and that space. And whether it's before you even get dressed and you just close your bathroom door for all those busy moms and dads. And, I have a lot of fur babies now, so most of my children are grown, leaving the nest, but the dogs are just as bad, my goodness. But just, sitting on the edge of your bathtub and taking that deep breath and turning off your nervous system and turning off your mind. And I'm not telling you guys to pray or not to pray. You can do that, but literally silence. Just say, I'm going to give you a rest. I'm going to give my mind a rest, my emotions a rest, my body a rest. Like it's amazing how that starts to calm the nervous system, bring you into center so you can, kind of start start with that breath at the beginning of your day. And then sometimes it's nice in the middle of the day when you go for your lunch. You don't always have to do what everybody else does and go here and run there and do errands. Sometimes you can just go sit in a park. And I used to do this way back in the day when I worked, but I would go sit in the park and there'd be fountains and stuff. And sometimes I'd read or journal, but sometimes I just turn off my mind, and it just felt so good to let kind of nature and silence fall over me. And you know what I mean, Laurie, because you live in a beautiful place. Actually, you live in Hurricane Alley right now, right?
No, actually, we were the safest place to be in Florida. I live in Key West, so we were at the very end of the earth almost, and we didn't have any effects of the hurricane at all.
But you can relate to the silence of the sea and the stillness of the beach, and how it feels just to breathe the salty air and just be. We don't know how to just be anymore.
It's absolutely true. And I could relate to you as well. When I was in a high stress job, I would take my lunch hour in my car and just have it silent because there was so much chatter and nonsense going on, and I just really just needed to not think or just breathe. And the breathing exercises and just breathing really, really helped me just kind of center, like you said, and that would make me go into the job with a fresh perspective, and that was a really good thing for me to do.
So it's the simple things that we see the energy field and the body screaming for the most. And everybody's different, everybody's individual. But when you start to see these patterns from scanning, many, many, many people all over the world, young and babies and kids and teenagers, and you start to see kind of these, which we know, we read articles about them, these big society patterns of, like you said, busyness and mind-numbing distraction. And we have these turned on nervous systems and anxiety, and it all affects what? Our energy and our ability to create and our ability to think clearly. So again, super simple, doesn't cost any money whatsoever, but something that you guys can be really conscious of and, add into your life just to be conscious of it. Can I do this? And once you do it a couple times, hopefully it will become a habit then. And one thing I want to do, we're going to actually practice this in the next segment. We're going to go into a little bit of a meditation. And if you're driving, I don't necessarily want you to do that. Either pull over or save it for another time, re-listen to a replay. But we're actually going to do a live meditation. And then Laurie and I will talk about how to get a hold of us and some of our programs. And we'll kind of go for there. So this is Dr. Kimberly McGeorge with Laurie Winn, and you're listening to The Secret to Everything.
As host of Dialogue with Divinity, I am thrilled to join the X-Zone Broadcast Network and their growing number of affiliates. My quest for a connection to the divine ignited my successful career path as an international spiritual counselor for over 40 years, an author of 4 books, and well-known metaphysical educator. My clients call me their spiritual mama. So my job is to offer you a radio show to help you grow spiritually with wisdom and get specific tools from guests who are experts in their field. Tune in to Dialogue with Divinity and be part of the conversation with Spirit. My goal, your happy soul. For more information, please visit my website at johannacarroll.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Coming soon to the X-Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randle, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X-Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. This is Kevin Randle. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com.
What happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold.
Welcome back to The Secret to Everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and Laurie Winn. And before we hit the break, we were talking about doing a meditation and kind of practicing going to this still place. So this is kind of what came in for you guys. And I want to say again, if you are driving, please do not do this. A lot of times people will kind of get thrown out of body, and Laurie knows, and get a little wonky. So definitely, maybe turn off the radio now and come back to it, or pick up the replay, because we don't want any accidents attributed to The Secret to Everything. So if you're not driving and you're not operating dangerous machinery, then go ahead and make yourself comfortable right now. And I'd like you to take a big old deep breath from your stomach area, from your third chakra, and breathe all the way in. And then I want you to let it all the way out. And we're going to practice right now emptying the contents of our minds. And before we get too far into this meditation, we're going to check in, kind of tap in with your body and energy field and see how you feel now. And then I want you to pay attention at the end and kind of check in again, and I'll try to remind you. But we're just going to continue kind of breathing relaxed and deep, and we're going to shift our minds and our thoughts into a neutral kind of still place. Keep breathing in and letting it out. We're going to kind of connect now to your soul, to the innermost parts of your being, and to your soul purpose. And we're going to do this by bringing in a little bit of green grounding light and color. And we're going to swirl it around a bit, and we're just going to breathe for a second. And we're going to bring in some gold light and some platinum. And this is going to facilitate this healing and any change and shift. Just be open to anything that occurs. Right now, we're going to release everything and anything. Your body knows, your energy field knows, your mind knows what needs to go, what you've been wishing that wasn't troubling you, what you've been spinning. Your energy field knows that is, and what it's willing to let go of, what it's willing to dissipate. So we're going to let that go, whether it's conscious or not conscious. Most of all, we're going to release right now what no longer serves this audience, including me, in the energy of the now of 2016. We're going to let that go. It's really important to be in current energy at all times. This energy is so beautiful, so brilliant, so fast-paced, but it can kind of carry you away with it. So we're just going to breathe it in and out of the field. There it goes. Kind of sit back and observe all the discordant things that you don't need, cluttering your life, diluting your light, stealing your energy. Just let it slip away. Feel it go on the exhale. Let it go. And we're going to call in at this time all life force energy of the highest frequency that is available to us on the planet at this time for our highest good. And we're especially going to invite in the frequency of 528 hertz, and we're going to invite in love. That's the frequency of love into every cell in your body. And we're going to allow it just to saturate your energy field. Feel it kind of wash over from the top of your head, just kind of like a warm blanket wrap around, kind of like a gentle waterfall flow over you. Just allow that to kind of flow to the bottom of your feet. And as you do this, don't forget to breathe in and out, in and out. And we're going to bring in kind of an orangish gold light right now with a hint of red, and we're going to swirl that around your ankles. And I'm going to bring the frequency up a little. And I'm doing this so that you can learn to stand in your own power. And stay with me and breathe, because some of you kind of fell out when I said that. So old beliefs may surface while we're doing this, and it looks like some of them are surfacing in some of you, like, I am not okay. I need someone else, another healer, another modality, another supplement. I am not enough. My connection to source, to God, to spirit, it's not enough. There's also the thought in some of you that I don't even have any connection with my own energy. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a connection to any source, any spirituality. Some of you even are like, well, I know I'm connected to something a little bit darker and a little bit denser, and I'm not willing to give it up. And all of that's okay. Just let that be. But the reality is, you are enough. Your power, your assistance comes from the creator of all things, which is what? Pure light, pure love, pure 528 frequency. Human assistance is not needed at any time to stand in your own power. We call on divine connections to come in now to your life and assist you with high-level contribution with whatever you need in your family, your finances, your health, your relationships, your career at this time. Some of you seem to need encouragement in your life mission, so we ask for that. Continue to breathe. Some of you go to holding your breath during this. Continue to breathe. Feel strong. Feel stable in every single area of your being. And the way I see energy, some of your legs and feet are lighting up right now. And don't be alarmed if you happen to feel warmth or tingling. That's a good thing. It means the energy is moving, the frequency is moving throughout your being. And you might be being reawakened, and even better, reimagined by the power of love. Better yet, by your own power, awakening your inner and outer grounded stability. So we're going to continue that energy from your ankles and your feet and your legs, and we're going to bring that all the way up to your hip level. I'm going to stay with red as a color in line with your root chakra, and we're going to bring in even higher frequencies, so get ready to release any personal blocks or barriers by other people that have inhibited or blocked your brilliance at this time, or any time actually in the past. We do this in all time, all space, all realities, all non-realities, including your parallel timelines, and we do that now. And I'm going to continue to clear energy for a second. And what's coming up now is you guys receiving permission, some of you, to be here now in this moment, and in this moment, and in this moment. So we're going to bring in the frequencies of compassion, and we're going to bring in allowance to feel fully, without comparison to others, our own being and our own power. So notice and observe the parts in you and your field that feel amazing right now. Notice any expansion, any growth, any improvement, that the energy continue to swirl. We're going to dip down really quick to a cellular and energetic level, to our deepest essence, to our birthright being unconditional love for self, for others, for the planet, for animals. Recreate in our own energy field, your own being, your own expansion, where you can create a sacred space, where you can continue to live in this frequency long after this program is over, on a moment by moment and a second by second basis. And we open to receive this now. We give ourselves freedom. We give ourselves permission to step fully into the power and the presence of us now and now. And now we choose us every moment from now on. We breathe in perfect health, the stunning awareness and sensitivity of frequency around us. We totally open to our gifts and abilities, to connection and vital energy. We release all that inhibits this, all that stops us. Every frequency in our field that doesn't serve us, we release now. We release any lingering tension. We release doubt. We release concerns. We call in peace and a radiance that is birthed from that still point, from that powerful place in you. And we bring in peaceful yet powerful personal power. For now you are centered, you are connected. Go light this world this coming week until we meet again. Breathe in, breathe out. And so it is, and so it was, and so it will always be. How'd you like that, Laurie?
That was wonderful. I'm still a little. The words that came to me were awakening. And when you said awakening, I know this audience is going to be awakened to energy, frequency, and just awakening to themselves, and a deeper connection to themselves. And it was just a wonderful way to kind of go into some of the things that you offer as far as the ultimate awakening.
Ooh, I love that. And of course, the ultimate awakening, you guys, is all about you. And we're all about, Laurie knows this, super about empowering you guys in every single area of your life to become that kind of super you and create that life that you've always desired in every single area. So not a lot of time. You can always Google us. We pop up everywhere. Of course, you can read more about us on the X Zone Network page. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on LinkedIn, secrettoeverything.com. Just got up a new website. So excited about that. Of course, you can tune in and listen to us every week. Next week, we're going to have Karen Curry Parker, and she's going to, again, be talking about personal power, about the absolute uniqueness and how special each one of you are. And she's going to be giving us some really, really amazing tips. So I'm super excited about that. So thank you guys so much for listening to The Secret to Everything. I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and you've been with us along with Laurie Winn. Many blessings.